Trouble's what you're in. Trouble, yeah. In that dress that's as black as my heart on this train. Trouble's what you're in. Trouble, yeah. With those lips that's as red as the blood in my veins. Trouble, you know where. Trouble, soft target. Trouble's what you're in. Trouble, yeah. 'Cause it's a long way to London Bridge and them heels, babe. Trouble's what you're in. Trouble, yeah.
That being said, let me go ahead talk about what needs to be talked about. Early this morning, I was shown in the spirit plane. You know, that wetback bitch, that's the least trauma that I motherfucking need. Exactly what's going on. And I saw my people do the Maria Tabarez, Paraffin. I think she goes under Sarah Connor or something. I know the name for those who are part of the Santa Muerte network, we know all the way back, is because the minute they incarnate, she is over them, which is not a good thing. And I saw it with a good friend of mine's who was half white. He told me he was half white. I never believed the most intelligent man I knew. Very, very intelligent. Very perspicacious. Even if he wasn't spiritual, he can comprehend exactly what's going on with you. With that being said, it's a lot of trauma. Her name that follows her followers, Kate, I saw on the spirit plane, got the same thing too, and I want to bear the same. Well, I don't want to go into too much either. But anyways, it's if you're part of her network, if you worship, even if you're Mexican, you're South American, your name is Terra Novera. And I believe that Maria, I also got Terra Munez. I don't know how true that shit is. With that being said, from what I understand, I think her name is Talavera Montez, and they'll have like, Montez. I got Telenovera. That also could be her Santa Muerte name. I don't know. And it'll be, if this shit ain't fucked up like mine, Maria Telenovera, the first, the second, the third, if it's under a curse, it's different. But I believe that her original name is Maria Blanco, because I got a Blanco, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's power in knowing the name. And, in the spirit plane, like earlier today, I had them little rose spirits helping me out. I had my brother Carrie, come out and help me out. I felt like forced to say that, like that just came out. Because I was nearly having my whole consciousness, my mind, everything commandeered and taken over by this wetback bitch. With that being said, I was playing Frequency to get rid of, evil ass motherfuckers, higher to higher selves all last night. I was told that was a big fucking mistake, but it was good at getting rid of that wetback bitch. 6,000 hertz is the key. There's a lot I want to teach. What I learned about their guys is a lot more I want to drop. But anyways, with that being said, in the spirit plane, I got bigger fish to fucking deal with, and I got to get this Maria Tavares, all this bullshit. I got to figure out what her name is. I sincerely believe it's Blanca, but when somebody has you under a curse, even if you say that person's, their higher self's name, it works for a moment, but it doesn't work fully. And that's what I saw with Maria Blanco or Blanca. It goes up to like first, the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth, but most traumatizing. And this is why I got to break free of this shit. I'm kicking myself in the ass because this motherfucker saying don't do it. Fuck it, I'm going to do it. I should have been more outspoken before August 22nd, 2022. I should have took this shit more seriously. I was shown that my mother and my father were actually stuck in hell realms. And, in one instance, they were stuck in all of the Rothschilds or something. I think that's their higher to higher selves. That's how you know this shit is real and they under something. Where they're being severed in their consciousness. I saw the Windsors. I saw my dad's either current or next incarnation, him being under Prince Andrew. For my next incarnation, I would be stuck in the Roach realm. It was supposed to be a lot better than that, me being a senator's daughter. It's funny. In one timeline, in this, timeline, I was a senator's wife, and from what I understand, I stole timelines from that. But Maria Paraffin or Blanco or something is going to be my higher to higher self, or acting as my he-cate. And I saw that, I believe Malachite houses Olympus, Mount Olympus, and I got Malachite in the spirit plane. And he-cate in them, Zeus, Aphrodite, who's great, for helping you out. I don't want to say it. I'm trying to think of the name. Then another good one. There's now I'm being made to forget. Notable gods and goddesses, but it's the pantheon. There was another one I wanted to mention. They're great to work with. But anyways, with that being said, I saw her lording over me, getting me, after placing my parents in hell realms, placing them in the Illuminati hell realm, so that in that August 22nd, 2022 timeline, so she could come up, get money from the Illuminati and all of that. And this article here actually hints at that. They think very, very lowly of wetbacks. I'm not going to lie, in the spirit plane. They gave the bitch a mall centered and settled in the Esplanade Mall that we used to have in New Orleans East, and that's where her house is. I got to think of the name of her house, but I know her timeline started at Cashapp. that connoted to that. You know, the reference to the mall and all of that, and, you know, the part about the white girl, that connotes to a soul swap. You know, I was looking at a woman by the name of, you know, today was transracial, by the way, full out. I was actually proud of her. People would think she's self-hating, but that's transracial. By the name of Donna Briggs. You know, I believe in being who you are. If you transgender, you be transgender. If you, you know, transracial, you embrace that. I don't believe in all this bullshit of, oh, you physical. You know, I look at the comments. I know I'm in a different reality. I look at the comments where I come from. Even if you the most, you know, fucking negative, you know, antipathetic, you know, closed-minded, single, you know, single amoeba, narrow-minded ass motherfucking hypocrite, I used to call them people. Because, you know, I know so much about the occult now, it's not even funny to discuss. Make a long story short, them motherfuckers were still, there was a human basis to where I don't agree with it, but I respect it, I move on. All right, you know, I understand, but I'm trying, you know, it was like they didn't understand, and they would accept it. It's who you are. I don't comprehend, I don't agree with it, but there was logic there. Like, if I open myself more up to, I would understand. These motherfuckers here, it's like straight up superficial, I don't want to say dense, but what's the antonym for, antithesis for dense? Very, very, you know, I used to say, you know, it's shallow as a pond, like, very, you know, it's shallow as a pond. Just, I want to say these motherfuckers, their level of understanding, it's worse than fucking superficial and shallow. It's like, them motherfuckers, it's a fucking brick. That's their comprehension. Like, I don't see anything past myself. And that's how I know, you know, it reminds me of how when I had a discussion with my brother Kerry, my brother Kerry was telling me, you know, he was telling me, yeah, Raven, you worked at a booth at MacArthur Maritime Security in New Orleans, at the New Orleans, you know, port. And I'm like, nah, that's bullshit. I was straight up security. I was no fucking gregarious ass, you know, pretty greeter girl. I looked stereotypically pretty like this back in the day. Same mindset, the same mentality. You know, I look that way, transracial and all that shit, trying to recapture my features from that Swedish past life. But outside of that, I'm not trying to do, you know, nah, you kiss my ass. Look, because of that Swedish past life, I may be attracted to white men, but you're going to bow down to me. You know, I know the occult. I know the spiritual. I don't even want to say spiritual. The extraterrestrial origins of black people. I'm proud to be in my black skin because I know who we are being in this body. I would not change it. I remember, look, I was attracted to white men as a little girl, and they know to Gary Busey and them two ugly motherfuckers. And funky motherfuckers just like me. And first thought that came to my mind, I love my brown skin. And a lot of Swedish people, a lot of them people up there, they know your work. They know, it's like with them wetbacks. I know a lot about them. Jeez, I want to drive. They ain't good. Them motherfuckers Know who you are. And just like your boy Alex Collier said, I'm going to put his video at the end, y'all are spiritual royalty. You come straight. The ancient Cometians are the ones who set up this whole system, excluding them fucking fake ass Khazar Jews called the Rothschilds. They set up this whole system. They look like, they described them as looking like Hispanic blacks, which is very, very accurate when I've seen them. They look a lot like light-skinned Creole Hispanic black people. That's why, one of their major bases in America was New Orleans. They don't say Lil Wayne, who I saw my soul swap self winning that alternate timeline. The kids appear fucked up, but the little girl is nice. And she tries to help from what I understand. He don't look like, it's not a Kenaton. And it's not King Tut, but it's Pharaoh. It's one of them pharaohs that he resembles. And I can't think of his name. But it's not a Kenaton. The Kenaton look a lot like Baron Samedi. The same body shape as I do too, the androgynous, because on one side at least I used to have before all of this shit, male, then female, broad shoulders, like the Baphomet. I kind of wonder if the concept for the Baphomet, which represents the primordial darkness, derives from that. With that being said, we come, that's, now that I think about it, that's why Bobby Hemmett, who I love listening to along with 13 Signs Astrology, I learned in the spirit plane that he actually got cloned. I heard that when he went to jail, that's why he started looking different. got cloned. They took him out for some odd reason and got rid of him. I think it has something to do with the Illuminati. I got to delve into it more in the situation. Anyways, with that being said, you can use 808 hertz to return somebody back to their body. 3517 hertz, 3571 hertz to revive a spirit body. 117 hertz combined with 800 hertz is perfect because it works to revive physical bodies. I got to test that at cemetery one night out of curiosity. During the day, I got to find one and go in the graveyard and test that. But I noticed that it was having an effect on my bones, so something, it does a trick. That frequency, combining frequencies and all that, that's key. That's why I used to get rid of that, Maria Tavares, and I'm on the precipice of doing it. With that being said, black people come from, we're the blueprint. Ala de Mare, all these motherfuckers, especially the wetbacks, all the motherfuckers are, wetbacks ain't even in the same spirit as you, from what I've seen spiritually. They can't even come close. They're beneath you. Beneath a lot of people, really. From what I've learned about them. Those motherfuckers, they were just made to do, not to think. And I've never seen anything like it. That's why they make good, adroit workers, but not very smart, innovative, ingenuous motherfuckers. That's why you don't see a lot of them, prominent or famous and, doing, major discoveries. It's usually us and people still, or, white folks, or, Asian people. They'll emulate, but they'll go light years ahead with shit, like fucking alien tech. But that's where we come from. And I don't see them really as gods. I see them as what they are, aliens. They're not from our realm. They're not from our dimension. They are higher than us, but like your boy Alex Collier said here.
Why so much attention to planet Earth? Why us? We're this little speck, on the outskirts of the galaxy. Just this little solar system. Well, galactic and intergalactic travel has existed in our universe for 4.4 billion years. Now I'm dealing with linear time, because that's the only way I know how to put it. Many of the extraterrestrial groups that were leaving from their respective star systems, when they would pass through our sector of our galaxy, they would always stop here on Earth. Why? It's beautiful. It's got an abundance of water, which is very rare in our galaxy. It has vegetation and life forms, unlike most other places. And not only that, it was far enough away that they could literally do anything they wanted, and nobody would say anything. It was like a retreat. And they would fly through here, stay 50 years, which is, if you live a lifespan of several thousand years, it's just a weekend. Even though it's 50 years to us, it's almost a lifetime. And they would just play God. Genetically alter this, genetically alter that. They would pick up other life forms as they were exploring. They would drop them off and see if they would evolve here, if they could exist. They tinkered. They did all kinds of things. Now, ETs don't value gold and silver or diamonds. They're not into that. What they're into are genetics. That's their valuables. Life forms. And we're now moving in that direction ourselves, our scientists. Okay. Well, what's happened is, according to the Andromedans, us, Terrans, Earth human beings, the physical forms that we now have ourselves, is a direct result of the genetic manipulation of at least 22 different races, extraterrestrial races, who tinkered with us. This is why we have approximately 22 different body types on the planet. Now, when I'm talking about body types, different physical and genetic and chemical structural makeups on the planet. There are 22. This is why we have so many different races that have different physical features. Now, because of this manipulation, what's happened is that we, as a planetary race, have become this, like Heinz 57. we have inside of us the genetic as well as racial memories of at least 22 different extraterrestrial races. Which means that we can physically bond or give birth or create with almost any specific species out there, with exception of the greys. Well, actually, to some degree we can with the greys, and the insectoid races. We can't mate with them. But we can with almost any other form, including reptilian. Just a few alterations in our DNA, and it's done. We're the only ones. Now, this is also the only planet in our galaxy where you have so many different races together. Now what's happened, and I'll give the example of Andromeda. The Andromedans are a human race, but they have been so pure, so clean in their DNA, in their genetic melding with the same race, that they are now starting to see signs of genetic breakup. In other words, the line is starting to show some genetic weakness. The Pleiadians will experience this in 1,000,000 years. They will start to see it. The Greys are already experiencing it. And there are other races as well, primarily human races, where this is happening, where the genetic material is starting to break down because of so much interbreeding within the same race, the same family. Follow me so far? There's only one race that can add this genetic boost, the new genetic material, to help them, and it's us. But they can't use our DNA, they can't use our physical structures because of our consciousness. We vibrate at such a low level. They can't use it. Plus, they just can't come down here and steal it like the Greys did, because it's a violation of free will. Which is the #1 law. Do not violate free will. Number 2, do not interfere or intervene with an evolving race unless you are asked. Of course, we have been. We have been for the last 5,000 years. Majorly manipulated as a planetary race. So, this is why there's so much attention here. Now, the negatives, the negative forces, and I include the world government in this, are doing everything they can to keep us down, to keep us negative, to keep us divided, warring with each other, all of that. They're doing an excellent job. The benevolent ones, however, want us to come together as a race. They want us to move into an unconditional love or an unconditional responsibility space. But they have to do it in such a way that we think it's our idea, because they can't violate our free will. Does everybody follow that so far? So, it's a hell of a situation. It's really complicated. I wish I could say it's black and white, and there it is, but it isn't. It's a very complicated thing. Now, because of the Grey intervention, and because our government, basically the secret government, sold us out, it has forced all of us to evolve now, instead of on a planetary level, on an individual level. Where each one of us has to go inside, and we have to look at ourselves and say, who the hell am I? What am I doing with my life? Is this really what I want to do? Am I really happy with all this?
Humans in general are alien royalty. We're extraterrestrial royalty. We got the Andromedans in our bloodline and our spiritual DNA, and not just spiritual, physical. We got all these, I don't want to say the Pleiadians. There's the Andromedans, and there's another one that starts with the letter A. That I used to remember with UFOlogy. You got all of these alien groups in your DNA, and black people are the blueprint. That's why, I'm gonna be honest with you. I knew a shaman who rescued my baby brother Brian in the underworld. Let you hear the psychopomp. And one thing she said to me is she'll work with, ironically, Hike, who I got written down, and I saw that in the spirit plane yesterday, as a sacrifice for, and I saw that today with Zendaya. Written as a sacrifice. With the powers of my connection Isis, who, is supposed to be part of my dad's bloodline, that got stolen. It was supposed to be, my mother representing that in our family, and that got stolen and given to her.
Orion was and is most interested in the females of your race because of the procreation, reproductive, and genetic strengths. We want to Orion was and is most interested in the females of your race. The last grave conflict was very harmful to your physical form. Many weapons of destruction, many of atom splitting have been used, which means nuclear weapons. This is the reason for most of your Terran skin tones. We shall explain. Orion was and is most interested in the females of your race because of the procreation, reproductive, and genetic strengths. We want to share the fact that much of your Terran history has been misleading in its truth by those who eventually conquered in control of your solar system. Nibiru won, but only a short battle, before they and other outposts were forced to leave your solar system because of genetic damage. Your original races were green-skinned. This we know because of large copper traces in your Terran 22 blood types. Also, the pituitary and thyroid were fully functional. The genetic damage to these organs was caused by radioactivity in air and all things of contact. The air was like this for a long time. It caused the genetic memory of these organs to be closed and almost atrophied. Your world experienced drastic changes in climate and massive magnetic fluctuations. Your different skin tones, races, are a result of an edema damage to your blood. It was then necessary for survival to create self-sufficient and contained environmental habitats, both above and below the earth. Now, folks, this is what the Garden of Eden was. It was an artificially created environmental habitat. Okay, it's like like what Richard Hoagland's been talking about. You take a dome city, you build this dome, and then you terraform it underneath it. It's exactly what these were. Let's see, where was I? Much of the fossilization of your Terran remnants is caused by this radiation of your planet. Your system contained 3 suns at the time. Only 2 remain. I'll read that again. Your system contained 3 suns at the time. Only 2 remain. Write it down, it's a question. Your physicality, your physicality in its original form contained a great balance of zinc, copper, magnesium, and iron. Your true blood color was green, like your chlorophyll. Some, we have discovered, even had a gold tint in it. As such, your physicality could survive in a high carbon dioxide atmosphere. Because of this, because of this skin color, the only stars in your system that affected your physical form were in the color spectrum of orange, red, blue, and green. Now think about that. Okay? If you picture in your mind everything's a holograph, okay, which is a group of frequencies. Because of this skin color green, the only stars in your system that affected your physical form were in the color spectrum of orange, red, blue, and green. Many of your Terran races were stranded on the surface. The genetic changes were the result of radiation damage. Your race went from green to red to yellow to black to white. Let's run this again. Your race, skin color went from green to red, it's the Native Americans, the Egyptians, and the Mayans, to yellow, which are Eurasians, to black, which are African and Afro-Americans, to white. Your white races were then considered to be genetically the weakest.